This is Demoniacal Fit's Hero Waltz, the Supreme Dance version. Essentially, it's Dragon Ball Super Gogeta, and he comes with a bunch of stuff. I'm pretty excited to look at this guy because I haven't had a Dragon Ball figure in like 20 years. And this is what my figures used to look like. I say used to, but actually these photos were from a few days ago. Pretty crazy how far action figures have come, right? I mean, it has been like 20 years, but still. Anyway, let's take a detailed look at Hero Waltz. All the accessories that he comes with, some things that you might want to look out for, and see whether he's worth it. First impressions are that he actually comes with a whole bunch of stuff, which is very much appreciated. As you can see, the whole tray is pretty much filled up, very good use of space, and pretty good value for money, I would say. Anyway, getting him out of the tray, there's no plastic protecty bits or anything like that. Guess it doesn't matter too much. I'm actually pretty happy to have this guy in hand, because despite having all the other figures, this one really speaks to my childhood. Of course, I've seen some other figures in person through boxes and on displays and stuff, but it's different having it in hand, right? If at any point in time you would like to grab one for yourself, then I will have some links down below for you. I suppose he looks like what he's meant to. Haven't really watched Dragon Ball in a while. In terms of sculpting and details and stuff, I think it looks good. For the price that you pay and for being a third-party figure, I think everything is pretty well done. There's not too much shading around it though. I think just a little bit on the pants, and maybe on the blue straps and stuff. But otherwise, the sculpting around the body and clothing as well, I think it makes up for it. Having lighting in the right angles will also help. The jacket or vest thing is cut up into 3 parts at the back as well. I suppose this aims to give a bit more range and covers up his joints when he's moving around, but we will see about that in articulation. I don't think there's any shading in the hair either. It's a little bit glossy or metallic, and I think the sculpting looks fine. The face also looks good. I would say it's comparable to what I've seen in the boxes for the SHF stuff. And his pads, of course, they are yellow. They're painted onto the black vest. I believe the other Hero Waltz had orange pads. Bit more of a classic look and what I'm used to. But that figure doesn't nearly have as much stuff as this one. And if this is maybe going to be my one and only Dragon Ball figure, I kinda want it to have more stuff. Let's take a look at his articulation, which I expect is pretty similar to standard SHF Dragon Ball stuff. And by the way, do let me know if you would like me to cover more Dragon Ball stuff. Feel free to let me know what your favorite figures are, and recommend me some down below. Because there's so much stuff out there, so many different brands, I have no idea what's going on. Head and neck movement, pretty average stuff. He looks down a whole bunch. Looking up will be limited by his vest, unfortunately. Tilts. Be careful when moving his arms because they can be a little bit stiff and squeaky. And I think there is a lot going on inside. Just don't force anything and be careful with it. He can T-pose if you work with him a little bit. They can rotate up, of course. Reaching forward, again, you do have to have some patience and work with it a little bit. His forward reach is not too crazy, which I've seen in most Dragon Ball figures, which is a little bit unfortunate. I suppose that's kind of what happens when you take inspiration from the SHF stuff. But you know, if they take inspiration from other brands which have a better forward reach and range and stuff, I think they could do some fantastic stuff. Backwards reach looks like this. He's got a bicep rotation, double elbows. His wristy thing doesn't rotate, and his hand movements are okay. Maybe a little bit limited by the black thing. Torso movement is okay. He rotates. Tilts. And bends forwards and backwards. Waist articulation, a little bit average as well. Would have been cool if he had an extending torso, kind of like the Sexy Ice guys. His belt is a little bit soft plastic and does move around, but be careful with it. Don't know how sturdy it is. By the way, if you are familiar, do let me know if this is kind of standard Dragon Ball figure movement. It seems kind of average to me, but maybe that's normal. He splits. Kicks back and forth. Don't know what that click was, but it's not broken at least. has some thigh rotation, knees bend like this. The blue thing doesn't move, and his feet move like this. Feet movement is a little bit limited, and the right toe joint wouldn't move on mine. The left one is fine though. I suppose he can do some high kicks as well. Alright, now let's take a look at all his accessories. By the way, we do have a Discord where we chat about figures and news and updates and stuff. If you're interested, it is via YouTube membership or Patreon, linked down below. For accessories, we got a whole bunch of hands. 7 pairs total. By default, he's got fisty hands, of course. These ones aren't very useful if you only have this figure because nothing plugs into it. I think these ones are for some other effects, such as the Stardust Breaker with the other hero Waltz. Otherwise, we got these fighting stance gesture hands. We got some, I guess these are Ki Blast hands, for when he's charging up his kamehamehas and stuff. These next ones are actually quite similar to the Ki Blast hands. I think these ones are a little bit more open and spread out, but yeah, very similar. Otherwise, these ones, I believe they are unique to this hero Waltz. These can be used to hold his vest, which is a thing he apparently does. You can also just kind of hold whatever else fits. Or I guess he can brush his hair back. Finally, we do have the actual Ki Blast hands with a little peg. These will fit nicely with his kamehameha effects. And his God Punisher effects, I think? That's what these are called, right? So for the blue ball or the kamehameha, whatever you want to use it for, there are some long effect pieces, so there are 2 long ones and 5 short ones. So the ball does have a lot of holes, and it's not too complicated, I think. The long ones will fit into 2 specific holes, and then the others will be for the short ones, and then there is a round hole for the hands. So you won't really get them mixed up. I think it is quite a nice inclusion because I don't think I've seen many of the other SHF Dragon Ball figures with effect pieces. Not many of them anyway. Otherwise, these 2 effect pieces, they should be provided in a separate box. They will simply just plug into his hands and you can just pose them however you like. So a good amount of stuff with the hands and effects there. We also got an arm swap for when he's crossing his arms. Not gonna lie, I kinda hate these. They are super hard to get in. Essentially just pull off his arms, get him to reach forward as well as you can, and then also do your best to try and attach the arms. I couldn't really get them on properly, but I think they're possible. But I suppose it is a cool inclusion. When trying to get his arms on, whether it's the cross-armed ones or just his regular arms, it might be a good idea to remove his head first because it is quite spiky and can get in the way. For his head and face swaps, he does have a whole bunch. I suppose this is one of the main selling points of the figure. It is kind of one of the reasons why I wanted this one as well. So by default, he's got blue hair and his serious face. He's got an angry kind of face, or you can treat it as an embarrassed one, I suppose. We got his classic smirk, or a nah-eyed win kind of face. Popping the heads off, we got the shouting face with the windswept hair. These are all interchangeable as well. So this is the shouting face with the normal hair. A little side by side of the differences between the 2 hair sculpts. Again, the variety is very much appreciated. We got a windswept Super Saiyan hair with a staring you down kind of face, looking slightly to the left. You can remove the halo. The Super Saiyan hair is matte and there is a little bit of shading, which does look good I think. Although there is a nasty seam line. There are no extra faces or anything for the Super Saiyan because that would come with the other hero Waltz. Now we got 2 powered down hairs, and a bunch of faces as well. Here's the windswept hair with the shouting face. There were a few dots on the face which I managed to sand off afterwards. Serious face with the normal hair. Here's the angry face. And here is the smirk. Head swaps, which yeah, let's not do that. So he does come with an insane amount of swaps for the price, and that is, well, it's very good. And of course, looks much better than the figures from 20 years ago. I do kind of wish they had extra wrist pegs. But then again, SHF don't really do that either, do they? For height, Gogeta is just shy of 6¼ inch. or about 15.5 centimeters. Honestly, even though my collection is very much not Dragon Ball, I reckon he still kind of fits in with everyone else, right? Kind of. It's not too bad, right? Not weird at all. But yeah, all in all, figure's pretty cool. Does come with a whole bunch of stuff. I would say he's pretty worth it. Anyway, links below if you want to check out and grab some stuff. Do let me know your thoughts of this figure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.